Raindrops on roses, whiskers on kittens, a cold slice of DiGiorno pizza, and a couple of ice cold Busch Lights, and the Fathead Cup Series. That's a few of my favorite things. How we doing, everybody? Paul Strickland Jr. here. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. here up in the booth. Alongside me, Kyle Young. Kyle, we got the Fatheads Cup Series here tonight for the Monster Mile 125 at one of my favorite tracks, Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. I'm pumped up. We had a great race last week at Darlington. A little bit of throwback action and a fantastic race put on by these drivers here in the Fatheads Cup Series. One of the rising stars here on Bedane TV and a milestone here on Wednesday nights. Just got wrapped up with the TCM Weekly Racing Series at Nashville Fairgrounds. Rational Richard Drake coming home with a victory and having the only car with no dents, scrapes, or any kind of incident points whatsoever. So congratulations to Richard Drake. But on to race number 2 here tonight on a Wednesday night. How we doing, Kyle?
Oh, not too bad, Paul. Good to be back after a week off here from Vidane TV, and what a place to make that return here at the Monster Mile, a very entertaining, very fast 1 mile high banked speedway. From what I've been hearing in the background, Miles is fairly hungry tonight, so these drivers are going to have to be careful, make sure that they stay out of his grasp, and hopefully at the end of this thing, we will be celebrating a very entertaining race, and who knows, maybe we'll see a new winner tonight to punch their ticket into the playoffs. Only 4 more opportunities left before the playoffs start, including this race, Paul, so the pressure is really going to be on some of these drivers who are on the bubble who may or may not make it into the playoffs.
You're exactly right, and we're just waiting for timing and scoring to get updated here on our end, but you can see from that camera shot there, parked in the pole position, that number 19 of Trevor Absher up in the front as the pace car gets ready to roll and all the drivers start to roll out behind them. We've got a great, good-sized field here for this racetrack, and I'm looking forward to it, man. This is one of the first one of the first NASCAR tracks I ever went to in person, and always great racing here, and always good sim racing here as well. And that bridge that crosses, I believe it's turn 1. There you can see it on your screen now. They're crossing under it, kind of on the backstretch there. That's one of the coolest places to actually be during a race. Cars coming out of the turn, just you're maybe 20 feet above the racetrack, and the cars are ripping by. Very, very cool spot to be.
You know, to be honest with you, Paul, I think that my first NASCAR race was right here at the Dover International Speedway back in 2001. Came here as a 5-year-old, and the rest was history. So many more NASCAR races after that, and it is a very cool place. Never been up in those bridges before, but it is a very entertaining racetrack to be at, and we're about to see that entertainment now as the pace car ducks down onto pit road. Trevor Absher and Ed Boyles Jr. will lead the field to the green flag, 27 cars strong, 125 laps and miles. Green flag is out, and the Monster Mile 125 is underway. Trevor Absher, he is going to lead the field into turns 1 and 2 with the advantage, and now Ed Boyles Jr. will sacrifice the outside lane, drop down behind the 19, and hold on to position 2 as the field roars into 3 and 4 for the first time.
Most of the field kind of fanning out just a little bit, trying to find where the best grip is and trying to see where they can get the most advantage on the freshest of tires they're ever going to be. And you can see the front 2 figured it out so far. The 19 out front with about 3 car lengths over the number 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. And there you can see another Hendrick car, Wade Palmer the 5th, closing in on the back bumper of Kenny Capola. There you see the 22 Penske machine off the pace down to the bottom column. Zener already going a lap down here on lap number 2, but the front 4 single file, check that, front 5 single file as Caleb Levener joins the picture.
Wade Palmer the 5th in that 24 machine, starting to put some pressure on the 3 of Kenny Capola for position number 3. Wasn't able to make anything happen just yet. Whoa, car way sideways off of turn number 2 that time. That was the 48 machine of Michael Miller. He is going to be able to gather it back up, and I think he may have lost a position to his teammate there in the number 9 of Matt Mackin. That is correct, so he will slip back into position number 7. He's got that Ally Chevrolet gathered up. Slight little wiggle there once again, and he's going to open the bottom for Tim Wortman Jr. in the 00, your current points leader, and he will snake on by. And following with him is the 18 of Jimmy Absher. Contact, and the 48 goes up the racetrack.
48 having a rough go of it. There you see, tried to get down. Oh, another Hendrick car with a big hit. The number 5 car all the way up into that outside wall. Slaps the outside. We're still under green. Nope, that's going to bring out the caution. There's the 11 car. He gets down out of the way. That's going to bring out the caution. There you can see the 5 car still struggling off the pace there. And that's going to pull up our very first replay here of the evening, brought to you by the Kong Beer Bong. Be sure to check them out and order you one today. Kong.2drunk.net, and that gets you the affiliate link for Verdane TV, a new affiliate associate sponsor we have here at Verdane TV. Very proud to have them on board. We're going to back this up just a piece here, and we saw the wall contact with the number 5 car of Wade Palmer the fourth, and now you can see the 11 car there as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a contact with the 5 car and the wall. You can see big hit there. It just seems like he lost the car. And then we had some issues with the 11 car of Wayne Bowen, and there you can see, we'll back that up one more time because that was kind of quick view there, but you can see loses the car right out of turn number 4, takes the whole front stretch to kind of collect it, and unfortunately doesn't quite do so. He tags the number 2 car of Patrick McClendon. He does a fantastic job of holding onto that race car. He gets dead sideways up towards the wall. Here you can see it again, boom, just like that. Fantastic heads-up driving there for the Patrick McClendon there in the number 2 machine. He holds on to it. Unfortunately, a little bit of damage to the number 11 car, and you can see he's probably going to come down pit road, try and get the virtual hammers on that machine, see if he can get the damage kinked out, and see if he can get back on track.
Yeah, an early ordeal here to bring out the caution after just a few laps of green flag action. So far, fairly wild, to say the least. Not that we would really expect too much less from this Dover International Speedway. Scrolling through at the moment, it looks as though both vehicles, the 11 and the 5, are still being scored on the lead lap. They are down on pit road at the moment trying to get repairs done to continue on with this race. The only car off the lead lap is the 22 machine of Colin Zeimer, but he just went around for the free pass, having early struggles in this event, so this caution bails him out of jail very nicely, and he will rejoin the field on the lead lap. Zeimer, one of those drivers that's on the cut line for the playoffs. He is just inside in position number 15, so he needs to stay strong here these final few races so he can race for a championship here later on in the season.
Absolutely, getting really close to the playoffs, like you mentioned, and we're going to a first-time track for Verdane TV next week, Circuit of the Americas. Very excited to have that racetrack here in Verdane TV, as we haven't called a race there yet. So really looking forward to that. And these cats are off on St. Patty's Day, the 17th. A little bit of spring break, but we're going to be doing some doubleheader action for Tim's Corner Motorsports that night, doing double duty for the weekly racing series there at Nashville Fairgrounds. So lots of racing action coming up on Verdane TV, and check that out at verdane.net/events. The full calendar of events, but do want to take just a quick moment to thank FATHEADZ Eyewear for jumping on board, sponsoring this here Cup Series. Check them out at fatheads.com. That's FATHEADZ with a Z. Use that promo code SHOWTIME at checkout. You get a monstrous 40% off discount at purchase or at the checkout. Some pretty good looking eyeglasses in there, Kyle. They got a lot of the aviator styles, some of the oversized kind of fathead style, if you will, sunglasses. If you're going to go to the racetrack like you and I do almost weekly, almost daily for you, you got to be looking good. You got to keep the sun out of your eyes. And one of the cool things I noticed about these guys, every time I wear sunglasses, I always get the raccoon eyes because I always wear them in the sun. They've got some transparent, kind of translucent frames, so it actually lets the sun in just a little bit, and it kind of tans underneath the sunglasses. So might actually be able to knock one thing off of the list that people make fun of me for throughout the summer months.
That's a pretty unique little feature there. That is really cool to learn about. And, as we get into March now, it's March 3rd, so a lot of us, especially those up here in the Northeast, starting to look forward to the warmer days and those days at the racetrack like you mentioned. So no better time than to start planning a trip over to FATHEADZ Eyewear website to grab some awesome-looking apparel for the face, for the eyes, for the focals for this upcoming racing season and the warm weather season. So definitely want to make sure to jump over there and do that. And like you said, 40% off, that really is a monster deal. Great stuff.
Yeah, and we also want to welcome aboard the Kong Beer Bong here at Verdane TV, a new associate sponsor here at the network. Check them out at kong.twodrunk.net, gives you the affiliate link, and we're going to be doing a little bit of demonstrating on that over on my Twitch channel on Friday night, twitch.tv/strictly94. Going to be doing some drinking, some iRacing, and practicing some beer bong action with the Kong Beer Bong. And there you can see the iRacing Mustang pace car taking that left-hand turn. He's going to get him a cold Coca-Cola down there in pit road, and we're going to go back green flag of racing, crossing the stripe at lap number 10. Number 19 gets a great start with Boyles in the 88, door-to-door, side-by-side, heading into turn number 1.
Pretty much dead even as they work through turns 1 and 2. at the moment. Boyles Jr. on the top side, Absher down on the bottom. Absher's going to rocket off that bottom and just about clear the 88 machine for the race lead, and now he will do so going into turn number 3. Boyles will drop down right behind the Bass Pro Shops number 19 Toyota Camry. They'll come off at turn 4, click off lap number 10, and throughout the field now after this opening lap, they're single filing out and trying to get themselves into a rhythm. But we've got a couple cars side by side there for position 7 or 8. It's the 9 of Matt Mackin and your points leader, the 00 Tim Wortman Jr. Wortman will take over the position, and Mackin goes on the defense to try to keep the 10 of James Kerr behind.
James Kerr was using the bottom line. He's going to move on up to the top line, see if we can find some grip, see if we can get that tied number 10 Mustang up towards the front, currently running just outside the top 10 as he gets passed by Chris Spear in the number 7 car. A new paint scheme there. Looks like Marlin on the hood of that car, but caution on the Speedway once again. Looks like it's in the back here, the Verizon 33 Ford of Tim Ingram, pointed in the wrong direction and has a bunch of crinkled up sheet metal on that car. So we're going to take one more look at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, find out what exactly went down here with the 33 machine.
Well, I mentioned at the top of the show, Paul, that Miles the Monster is hungry, and he got himself a nice snack out of that 33 machine. Coming off of turn number 4, all by his lonesome, just tries to extend the track limits a little bit too far, gets the outside wall and crunches the front end and the left side of that Verizon 5G number 33 Ford Mustang on the inside wall, tears that car up quite a bit. He's able to get it rolling and pulls away from the scene of the crash, but heavy damage to that number 33 ride, the front end completely missing off of that car, so he will have to duck down on a pit road and try to see what his team can do to repair that machine. Not at all what Tim Ingram wanted to see here tonight, and especially so early. Ingram, another one of those drivers that is just on the cusp of making the playoffs. He came into tonight's race 18th in the point standings, just 4 points outside of the playoff cutoff, Paul. So this is not good, not at all helpful for his chances of trying to get on the inside.
Yeah, it's really going to make a long night here, longer at the Dover International Speedway here, and you can see that 5G machine definitely out of service on the front end. He's going to come down. He's going to join the 5 of Wade Palmer, the 5th. The 4th, check that, number 5 was damaged in that first caution there. He's still working on that car. Looks like 6.5 minutes of repairs so far. The 11 down there looks like just a quick tire change, 2 tires, maybe a little bit of fuel for the number 11 car, maybe some strategy there for the 11, but still Trevor Absher up front and Ed Boyles Jr. in the 88 car. 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. actually rocking the Fatheads logo on the hood of that car, as well as the quarter panels and well, pretty much all over the car. But it's kind of neat because it's the nationwide paint scheme that Dale Earnhardt Jr. ran in that 88 car, and that's one of my favorite things about this league here, the Fatheads Cup Series. They all have to have NASCAR teams, NASCAR paint schemes, NASCAR numbers, so it's really easy to follow who the teammates are. The 88, the 24, the 9, the 5, the 48, they're all Hendrick Motorsports. The 12, the 22, they're Penske. The Gibbs guys, 19, 18, the other Gibbs numbers that I can't remember for some
11
reason.
and 20.
The 11 and 20 shows how much I've been paying attention over the past 15 years. But it's a pretty cool little deal that these drivers do, and it's very cool to see that the league officials are allowing them to kind of be a little bit on the creative side, using that NASCAR-style paint scheme, but having a real-life sponsor jump on board. And Ed Boyles very proud to carry the Fatheads colors on that number 88 machine, and giving them a good run here. 2nd place so far, and been running P2 pretty much since the drop of the green flag here, Kyle.
Yeah, and he's looking for some serious recovery after last week's race at the Darlington Raceway. He led a good majority of that race, made a pit stop late to try to change the strategy up, and got caught up in an accident after that, and did not have the finish that he was hoping to have after leading so many laps and spending so much of that race towards the front of the field. He is one of the 4 drivers in this league that does have a victory, so he knows that he is going to be playoff racing. But it's been a while since he's been to victory lane. It hasn't happened since way back at the Auto Club Speedway back on December 9th. So it would be nice for that 88 machine to get back into victory lane, and I'm sure it would be nice for that entire Hendrick Motorsports organization to get one of their cars into victory lane, period. They have been very strong over these last few races, but have fallen apart towards the end of them and haven't been able to make the trip to victory lane. So far it's off to a good start. Still only 15 laps completed in this race, a long way to go, but that Hendrick Motorsports stable with 2 cars inside the top 5 and a 3rd back in position number 9 with Matt Mackin.
Just waiting on the pace car to get the heck out of Dodge. Let these drivers go back at it. There you can see the lights are off atop the iRacing Mustang pace car. And we're going to come around and lead these guys back down to green once again. And you can see still a full field of cars here. 27 cars still in the race. The 5 car of Wade Palmer IV still sitting on pit road, getting that car worked on after that first wreck. But still 26 drivers on the lead lap. And there you can see them all on your screen as they slowly parade themselves 2 by 2 through turns 3 and 4. Going to be getting ready for another restart.
This restart will come at the completion of lap number 16. The race has been led in its entirety by the number 19 machine of Trevor Rabsher. Started on the pole and has kept his car clean thus far. He was very confident after last week's performance and was hoping to get to
victory lane here tonight, and doing a good job so far in that second position. He's going to try and hold on to that. He's going to actually try and peek in the outside of the number 19 of Absher, and it seems like he's going to tuck back in and move down just a little bit on the low side. There you see the pass for the lead. Does it almost with ease. Gets all the way down, crosses him up just a little bit, and makes that position clear. So lap number 18 on the board. Give that lap leader to the Ed Boyles machine.
Absher falls back to second, and now Kenny Capola was putting some pressure on that number 19 for the runner-up spot. Wasn't able to make it happen going into turn number 1, but we do have some side-by-side action going on. A few cars behind them. Caleb Levener in the 12 and Preston Purrier in the 13 going at it for position number 6. Levener coming off of 2 consecutive wins in this series, riding a lot of momentum and trying to keep that momentum going here at the Dover International Speedway tonight. Great spirited battle between these two. Lots of space. That outside line looking fairly strong for the 12 machine as he's able to keep the 13 right next to him for now. But look at that run through the center for 3 and 4. Purrier clears and will move into position number 6.
Great racing with a lot of these drivers already locked into the points standings here, or locked into the playoffs rather. Caleb Levener, Tim Wortman Jr., Preston Purrier, and Ed Boyles Jr., as you made mention, Kyle, locked into the playoffs so far, taking 16 drivers. So that's going to be all the winners here throughout the first 16 races, 4 races after, or check that, 3 races after tonight. This is race 13 of 16 of the kind of the pre-playoffs, if you will, regular season, as it were. And we're going to be doing essentially what NASCAR does, breaking them down to 8 drivers and then doing the championship 4. There you can see the 5 car down out of on the apron. Looks like he is still off the pace, but he is finally off pit road, making a couple of laps. And we can see the 43 of Joshua Battles on pit road now. He's lost a couple of laps, 4 laps down, but still 25 drivers on the lead lap. 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. still holding on to that lead by about 3 car lengths over that Bass Pro Shops number 19.
Yeah, Absher's done a really good job of keeping right with Ed Boyles Jr. and his pace. Kenny Capola not far off the 19 machine, and now these 3 cars starting to break away from the rest of the field as it's almost a second back between the 3 machine and the 24 for positions 3 and 4. And right now that 24 car, he has a rear view full of the 18 machine of Jimmy Absher, teammate to Trevor Absher at the Joe Gibbs Racing Stable. So 2 of their cars inside the top 5 here tonight and looking strong thus far. That 18 machine looking to try to make a move up around the 24. 24 showing some slight connection troubles at the moment. He gets a good run off of turn number 2, though, looking to go to the inside into 3, but the door slams shut and he will have to wait for a better opportunity.
A little bit of a blip there on the connection for the 24, but no harm, no foul. That's what that smoke was. The iRacing service, one of the cool things that I actually just learned recently when a driver's having connection issues like that, it puffs a little bit of smoke out. Kind of let all the drivers around him know that, there you see as he pops back in, the 18 dips down low, lets everybody else know around him that there's a connection issue that's going on there. So hopefully he can get that worked on throughout the rest of the night, but that's going to move Jimmy Absher, the 18 car, up into the 4th place position. He's going to set his sight on his teammate, the 19 car, right in front of him in 3rd.
Yeah, Kenny Capola gets around the 19 for position at number 2, so put that Richard Childress Racing number 3 machine in the runner-up position. Trevor Absher falls back into position 3. This is the longest green flag run we've had thus far, so maybe we're starting to see that Trevor Absher, not that great on the long runs just yet. got to find a way to work on that machine and get a little bit better in case we continue on these long runs. And as this run does continue to progress, the lead for the 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. does continue to increase as well. It's up to 3/4 of a second. Let's see what happens here when they cross the stripe. I think it's going to shrink, and it does. Shrinks down to just over half a second, so nearly 2.5 second or 2.5 gain there for the 3 machine of Kenny Capola, and he's bringing the 19 right back with him because Absher has not left that rear bumper any much space whatsoever.
You can see there we go as the nice wide shot. We kind of close it back up. The second and third place drivers closing in on each other, and they're closing in on the back bumper of the 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. Want to take a quick look over at the Facebook chat, the YouTube chat. Team Stamper fans in attendance going for that number 21 car. We'll do a Stamper check real quick. Sean Stamper currently running in the 15th position. There you can see him on your screen now, getting on by the number 48. That's going to move him up to 14th. Still a long way to go, but man, that's a good-looking car. That's a chromed-out Menards-looking paint scheme. I'm digging that.
Whoa, big moment there off of turn number 4. Got all kinds of sideways right in the front of Michael Miller. The two made some contact, but they will keep it clean and green. Some good racing going on back here. We got the side-by-side battle going on. Just a few cars behind these guys between the 15 and the 10. Ryan Kling takes that position from James Kerr, and Kerr goes up into the outside wall. Going to lose another position or two through turns number 3 and 4. So that number 10 Ford Mustang machine starting to struggle here just a little bit as we click off lap number 30. So 95 laps left to go here in the Monster Mile 125. James Kerr will drop back to position number 20 on the field right now, right up in front of this battle going on for position 21 between Alonzo King and Derek Cook.
And there you can see the 48 dropping back a few more positions, stuck on the outside line, and it doesn't look like that car is handling quite right here, Kyle. As you see, he slaps the wall. Hold on to it. Slaps the wall again. He's going to try and hold it up there. The car's down in the racing groove, getting by, no problem. There you can see the 14 car of Derek Cook. He's going to try and get by him cleanly here. But before he slapped the wall, you can see it's still loose. Bad loose. He's so loose that he's having to chase the car all the way up into the wall. And, man, that's not where you want to be. There you can see his teammate, the Wade Palmer 4 machine in the 5. A couple laps down, so this isn't going to be for position, but that kind of shows you the pace of the number 48. That 5 car took a big hit, and there you can see kind of wiggling a little bit, trying to maybe heat the tires up a little bit, try and see if he can find some kind of grip in that 48 Ally machine.
Okay, quite a few things change up at the front of the field, Paul, while we were watching all of that going on in the middle of the pack. Kenny Capola has taken over the race lead for the first time tonight away from Ed Boyles Jr. He goes back to second. And now Caleb Levener in the number 12 machine inserts himself into the top 5 for the first time tonight. He is up to position number 4, trying to track down the 19 of Trevor Absher. Remember, Caleb Levener, the winner of the last 2 races in this series at Kansas Speedway and Darlington Raceway. So he's looking to go 3 in a row tonight. Looking very strong, trying to add more playoff points, more championship points to his total to really set himself up for the playoffs that will start here in just about a month or so.
Chris Spear bringing the thunder just a little bit. That 7 car moving himself into the top 5, running in the 5th position. Again, new paint scheme for Chris Spear in the number 7 car, and having a really good run. The 18 drops back just a little bit. Still running with that 13 car, though. Almost side by side there. You can see the 13 is going to dip down low and get around the 18. No problem. Looks like he's might possibly bring the Mackin machine to the number 9 Napa car. He's going to try and peek down low, see if he can get around. And there you can see Tim Wortman Jr., the 00, trying to join the party as well.
They'll stay single file for the moment coming off at turn number 2, but you can really see how much that 18 of Jimmy Absher is starting to struggle. Looked like he had some speed early on in this run, and now as we start to click off some more laps, that car is starting to get a little sideways, starting to get uncomfortable underneath the seat of Jimmy Absher, and he's going to sacrifice a couple more positions and drop back to position number 9. So he's got some space back to Patrick McLendon in position number 10, so hopefully this little pocket of racetrack will give him an opportunity to settle in and kind of figure out what he needs to do to make that car handle a little bit better for him.
Starting to see the difference between, actually, it's the same thing we saw last week at Darlington here, Kyle. Some of the drivers set up for long run, some of them set up for short run, and it's starting to show just a little bit here. And you can see the 3 of Kenny Capola really starting to put the pace down, closing in on some lap traffic. We're going to take a look as we ride on board, and there's a gaggle of cars in front of them, 5 or 6 cars in the back of the pack. all racing for position, and you can see just how quickly this number 3 car is closing in on that group of cars. So it's going to be an adventure, Kyle. We're not going to see if he's going to be able to get around him cleanly, or if he's going to have to put up a bit of a fight to try and get around these guys.
Yeah, lap traffic is never easy at this racetrack, and it doesn't help when they're all tightly packed like that and racing for position amongst themselves. So the patience and the intelligence going to have to really shine here for the 3 of Kenny Capola. He's sitting very nicely. He doesn't want to throw his opportunity away for this race, even though we're still very early on in this one. You got to be thinking about the long picture here, and it looks like he's going to try to go to the outside of the 22 of Colin Zymer, but the caution flag is going to save him right as he gets to this lap traffic. Yellow flag is out. I think we have more trouble over in turn number 1 that we do on the front stretch. It involves the 5 machine once again, Wade Palmer the 4th, Charles Stevens, and the Ream number 20 machine is also involved. The 95 of Ken Ellert started with those 2 machines, and a couple other cars also got involved there, Paul.
Yeah, and that's exactly what those drivers that were getting ready to lose a lap wanted to see, and it's definitely something that a lot of the drivers up towards the middle of the pack wanted to see as well, because may very well be coming down to possibly get some tires. But we're going to take a look at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay here. We're going to take a look at the number 95 of Ken Ellert. We did see the 5 and the 20 were involved in the carnage, and there you can see the 95 slaps into the wall, slaps into the 20 car. There you can see 15 trying to avoid it. He gets himself a piece of the wall, and you can see it looks like the 20 gets by half the wreck, but unfortunately gets caught up in the which car is that? As he goes on by, we're going to try and catch it right there. Gets caught up with the 5 car as he tries to go by. So those are a couple of big hits. I think the 5 car may be done there. You can see some black smoke coming out from underneath the hood of that machine. So that motor may very well be popped, and you can see the 20 very much off the pace down there close to the apron. So that car is not going to be up to full song once we get under green, and we'll see what his pit crew can do. But before we even get into any kind of story or anything like that, Kyle, pit road is a busy place.
That is, looks like just about the entire field is down on pit road for service for the first time. We got a couple cars that are starting to roll on out now. Looks like that's the 37 that's going to win the race off pit road. Not sure if he just drove all the way through. Amongst the front runners, barely coming out, I think that is Kenny Capola that's going to edge Ed Boyles Jr. Then we got Caleb Levener, Trevor Absher coming out of pit road right behind those guys. Looks like 4 tires fuel for the majority of this field. These guys are entering the night with 5 tire sets for them to use. So 4 in the pits, including the one that they started the race on. So a lot of these guys are going to take that first of 4 sets sitting here on pit road, get back out onto the racetrack, and hopefully that was a long enough green flag run for them to kind of get an idea what they need to change on the cars. Remember, this is an open setup series, so these guys have the opportunities to adjust tire pressure, track bar settings, all kinds of stuff like that during this race and during these pit stops.
And Kyle, we've had a little bit of a mixed bag so far here tonight. We've had a couple of short track runs. We've had a short runs. We've had a couple of little longer runs, maybe 15, 20 laps or so, and we definitely saw some drivers using different setup styles. Some guys set up for the long run. Some guys set up for the short run. At that point, what do you do? What do you adjust for? We're coming up on just about halfway here, maybe 10, 15 laps from halfway or so. Definitely going to have to come down pit road at least one more time, if not for fuel, definitely for tires. Do you set the thing up and maybe think that cautions breed cautions, or do you kind of roll the dice a little bit and maybe try and set that car up for the long run?
Well, I think this ensuing green flag run can really tell a lot of stories and really set themselves up for the rest of this race. That was the longest green flag run that we've had thus far, and as you mentioned, it came after a couple shorter green flag runs. So we haven't really had any consistency in this race just yet. If this race develops into a longer run from this point, then maybe you have to start really thinking about that long run speed and what you have throughout the remainder of this event. We're going to be looking at 81 laps left to go once we click off the lap here, lap number 44. So this pit stop could have been very vital for a lot of guys. We saw that the 18 machine, Jimmy Absher, he started to seem like he was struggling as this run progressed on. Trevor Absher didn't look to be all that great once the longer run kicked in. The car that did look very good was that 3 machine. He was very quiet on the short run, but once things got underway, he really made a nice charge through the field and started to separate himself from the guys behind him. So they're going to double up here, going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. It'll be fun to see for some of those guys that we saw struggling. Did they make any changes on that pit stop? And for those guys that have been running good, will they continue to run good? Or will those guys that maybe had an opportunity to change some things close the gap and contend?
Halfway, third of the way. I went to a technical high school. You got to forgive me on my math. Third of the way through this race here. 125 laps, 125 miles here at Dover International Speedway. Great racing action so far. Kenny Capola, Ed Boyles Jr. going to restart on the front row. There you can see the previous two race winner, Caleb Levener, restarting on the inside of row number 2, and the pole sitter, Trevor Absher, on the outside of row number 2. So lots of fast cars up here in the front of the pack. iRacing Mustang pace car down there on pit road waiting for that green flag to drop. There it is. Monstrous restart for that number 3. Already has Ed Boyles Jr. cleared by about 3 car lengths as they head on down to turn number 1.
Top 5 cars or so are going to go single file. The 7er Chris Spear was trying to get to the inside of Preston Pereira there, going off of 2, but he gets a massive run off the top side of turn number 2, takes it down to the bottom, and will take over position number 5, or make that position number 3 from the 12 car of Caleb Levener. So he will, position number 4 for Preston Pereira. So a nice restart for the 13 of Pereira. He will go up to position 4, sends the 12 of Caleb Levener, back to position number 5. And it looks like that's the early battling going on here as the most of the field single files out here as they come to complete the second lap. And the caution flag comes out to end that.
22 having some more problems. There you can see Zemer pointing in the wrong direction and black smoke coming out from underneath the bottom of that race car. So he may very well be done for the evening. We'll back up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay here. And it looks like he lost it all by himself here, Kyle. We're going to take a look at him kind of running by himself after that restart. Shoots it down into the corner. And it looked good so far. But as he comes out of the corner, out of the exit, slaps the wall and then just kind of comes down a little bit of a lazy spin there on the inside wall, and doesn't quite get the toe button smashed quick enough. You can see trying to get it pointed in the right direction, and just it looked like he was waiting for the caution flag to maybe come out, and there you can see finally gets the car rolling as the leaders start to slowly crawl up behind that pace car, and well, there you can see hits the reset button there. So tough break for the 22. Might be done for the evening as he's going to be on pit road for a little bit.
Yeah, Colin came into this race. Actually, it looks like he was in position number 15 in the point standings and only had a 4-point buffer over the cut line back to Pete Woodrum in the number 4 car. Now, the good news is that Pete Woodrum in the 4 is not in this race tonight. However, the bad news is that the guy behind Pete Woodrum, the 33 machine of Tim Ingram, is in this race and only entered 5 points behind the 22 machine of Colin Zeimer. Now, we did see that the 33 machine had his issues tonight. It appears that those problems have eliminated him from this race here tonight, or he is at least still down on pit road trying to fix that car. So looks like those two machines in fairly similar shape, Paul. There might be some more cosmetic damage to the 33 than there is the 22, but I think the 22 just popped a motor in that crash. So this really opening up an opportunity for the 23 of David Doothwaite. He came in 20 points behind the cut line, so he has an opportunity to take over the positions from Pete Woodrum and Tim Ingram and put himself closer to the cut line, while also focusing on that 20 machine of Charles Stevens. Charles is the cut line in position number 16, and he has had problems tonight as well. He's got a lot of damage to his Ream Toyota on pit road trying to repair that machine, so this is a good opportunity for David Doothwaite to try to come home with a good finish and put himself in position to enter the playoffs.
Absolutely. Taking a quick look at the playoff standings on your screen right now. That's points racing always irked me out. It was always tough to add everything together and try and be consistent. These drivers know that the best way to get into the playoffs is to come out here and win a race, but tough to do. You can see there after 12 races, we've got 4 different winners here. A couple of other winners that are no longer with the league, but still, it's really tough to kind of race for points here, especially or race for wins rather when you've got the same drivers up front each and every week. So it's definitely good for the competition, but it makes it frustrating when you try and point into the playoffs here. But do want to give a quick shout out to the Woodrum family. We may or may not be watching at home. We know we had a little bit of an incident. We're not going to get into any kind of details, but our thoughts and prayers are out with you guys, and we hope everybody's doing well. And it sucks you're not out on the racetrack here, but we know stuff happens, and we hope for the best and quick and speedy recovery. And well, this bush is for you.
So the field will double up here, getting set to go back to green flag racing in just a few moments' time. I want to update you on some of the drivers that had some issues earlier in this race. We saw the 5 machine of Wade Palmer IV get into some trouble with the 20 of Charles Stevens not too long ago. He is out of this race. Will not finish. Michael Miller, he had some connection problems, disconnected from this race, and has not returned. So there's 2 of the Hendrick Motorsports cars that are not currently logging laps around this speedway. Tim Ingram, as we said, he's on pit road trying to fix some damage. The 43 of Joshua Battles, he's 8 laps down right now, but he is on the racetrack. Not exactly sure what happened to his machine. It looks like he's all clean with damage, so not too sure what happened there. And as we made mention, Charles Stevens, Colin Zeimer on pit road for damage repair. And then you have the 15 machine of Ryan Kling, who is 1 lap down on the racetrack with some damage, but hoping he can get a quick yellow to get the free pass. So here we go, getting set for the restart at the completion of lap number 51. It is Kenny Capola in the 3 machine, Ed Boyles Jr. in the 88. Green flag is back out, and another very good start for the 3 of Capola. Trevor Absher with a decent start, tries to bring that momentum to the inside of Ed Boyles Jr., but Boyles will find some momentum of his own, close up on the back bumper, and is peeking to the outside down the backstretch for the lead.
Yeah, Kenny Capola definitely has these restarts figured out, Kyle. You can see he's had another great restart there, but you can see 88 kind of did a little bit of study in the past couple of restarts. We've had a few of them here this evening at Dover, so you can see he's right in the tire tracks, kind of peaking high, peaking low, getting a little bit of air on the front of that 88 Fatheads machine, but just he's doing his homework at this point, trying to figure out where he's quicker, where he's slower, maybe trying to see where the Capola number 3 and make a mistake, but man, that's great racing so far. There you can see the 19 coming into the picture as well. He's trying to move into the back bumper. Trevor Absher moving in on Ed Boyles Jr., Preston Purrier in there as well, and the number 13 Geico machine, and pretty much status quo up front, single file for the front couple of cars. There's a 24 in the back of your screen. Wade Palmer, the 5th, big slide, big save out there. Doesn't hit anything, but man, that was a sketchy move back there, running in the 10th position.
Yeah, I caught that one myself out of the corner of the eye there. Great save by Wade Palmer, the 5th, to keep that exultant number 24 pointed in the right direction. He sacrifices a position to his teammate Matt Mackin in the 9, but better than the alternative in destroying that colorful number 24 car and joining some of his teammates on the inside of this racetrack off of the racing surface. So lap number 55 will be completed, just a few laps away from the halfway mark here in the Monster Mile 125 that has been led mostly by the 3 machine of Kenny Capola. Ed Boyles Jr., he's led a good number of laps tonight. Trevor Absher started out the race by leading about the race's first 20 or so. Those 2 cars haven't been able to regain the lead since losing it, but they've been staying right inside the top 3. Not really allowing the 3 of Kenny Capola to get too far away from them, but we've also had a couple cautions here over the last 10 or 15 laps that has kept things tight.
Nice wide shot from turn number 3. You can see the entire field pretty much single file at this point. Looks like these guys might be in it for the long haul. See if they can get a long green flag run. Maybe kind of feel the setups out just a little bit. Burn a tank of fuel, and see how the car handles at that point. We are going to see these drivers slow down a bit as the tires go away. 15 laps so far on this set of tires. Not entirely sure what the fuel window is here at Dover for these Cup cars, but they're definitely going to have to come down at least one more time. Again, if not for fuel, definitely for tires.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that strategy plays in. And, well, so much for that strategy. The caution flag has just flown once again, so that'll slow the pace of this race down. We got the 10 machine of James Kerr in trouble over there in turn number 1, so that is why the yellow flag has flown. We saw that machine have some issues during that lengthy green flag run not too long ago, Paul, and looking at this one, looks like Miles the Monster snagged another one.
Yeah, you can see just kind of hit the outside wall and almost gets into the DoorDash number 23 car of just had it. David Douthwaite in that DoorDash, and it looks like he actually turned the car left, and the 10 of James Kerr kind of wrecked himself, so he didn't collect that 23 machine. So gentleman move there, but that number 10 Tide machine, not so clean anymore. Lots of damage on the right front side there. A little bit of damage on the back that you can see. So tough break for James Kerr. Doesn't look like there's anything internally wrong with the car, but definitely some damage to try and work out the kinks here on lap number 60.
Taking a look at pit road, and we've got a couple takers in here. I do see some flashing red lights, so I don't know if pit road is actually open or not. But Matt Mackin, Wade Palmer the 5th, Sean Stamper, Wayne Bowen, the 41 machine of John Tuddy, David Douthwaite, the 14 of Derek Cook, Ken Ellert, Ian Yeager, and James Kerr, all coming down pit road here under this caution flag to see the service of their pit crews. The 9 machine running just inside the top 10, so a lot of the front runners staying out, and we're seeing a good portion of the back half of the field coming down for service here on this lap 61 caution.
Yeah, there you can see a couple of Hendrick Motorsports teammates. The number 11, Wade Bowen down here. Sean Stamper there you can see getting service completed on his machine. 14.5, looks like a 4-tire stop. Looks like 4 tires for pretty much everybody throughout the field as they kind of come off together. The 23 of David Douthwaite getting some of that damage repairs. A little bit of a lengthy pit stop there, but doesn't lose a lap, and that's the main thing. And we can see, like you said, pretty much the second half from 10th on back, the lead lap cars came down to get tires and Sunoco race fuel, and that's going to make things interesting because everybody up front has about 18 to 20 laps on their tires, and we can see it's kind of tough to see what the lap times were last time by because we were under caution, but definitely a bit of fall off with 20 lap old tires. So it'll be interesting to see. We're going to have some drivers in the back with fresh tires, kind of feeling like Superman. We got some of the faster guys still up front, so going to be a little bit of a mixed bag here on this restart, I think, Carl.
Yeah, no question. It'll be interesting if we do get a long run at this point to see if those fresher tires in the back of the field are going to do anything for these race leaders that don't really have too many laps on their tires, but of course the fresher ones in the back could have an impact if we do develop ourselves into a longer run here. So just about at the halfway point right now, depending on how you look at it. It is an odd numbered race, so if you consider lap 62 the halfway mark or lap 63, we're right there on top of it in the Monster Mile 125, seeing a little bit of parity towards the front of the field with the top 3 cars all leading some laps. Preston Purrier in 4th. He's looked fairly strong tonight. He has worked his way up through the field just a little bit, started back in 12th, and he is now in 4th. Caleb Levener, the 2-time defending race winner here in the Fatheads Cup Series, looking for 3 in a row, completing your top 5. Then there's Chris Spear, who we got to hang out in the booth with a little bit last week, Paul. It's nice to not have him up here and have him out on the racetrack for the first half. He's making that 7 car look very strong there in position number 6. Tim Wortman Jr., who was actually second place in the point standings. I've been calling him the points leader in this race. That is now Caleb Levener's point lead after his back-to-back victories. Patrick McClendon is 8th, Jimmy Absher 9th, and the 24 of Wade Palmer the 5th will complete your top 10. As the lights go off on top of the pace car, we will go green flag racing next time by to kick off the second half of this race.
Lined up 2 by 2, and there you can see the lights are off on the iRacing Mustang pace car. Going to get a restart with lap number 64 in the books, and if my math tells me right, we're close to halfway. I don't know where it actually is. But getting ready to go racing once again here. Going nice and slow here on the back stretch. And at this point, Kyle, you think that some of these drivers may have kind of worked some of the kinks out of the setup. They've had a couple of opportunities to come down pit road and make some minor adjustments. But the major story here, the top 10 stayed out on 20-lap-old tires and 10th on back through about 19th, maybe 20th. Maybe even further on back with a couple of the lap cars came down for 4 fresh tires. It actually looks like the 27 of Ian Yeager took 2 tires with a 6.2 second pit stop. Everybody else taking 4, and it's going to make things interesting. Pace car's down on pit road. We wait. Green flag. 3 cars drops the hammer. He's going to get a monstrous restart again over the number 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. And the 19 kind of tucks in behind there. You can see the 13 of Purrier as well, getting on up there, but there's the 88. He's going to try and take a peek on the outside where the grip may or may not be. He's side by side going into turn number 3 for the lead.
Using the top shelf of the racetrack, Ed Boyles Jr. trying to regain the race lead. They are side by side, dead even coming off of 4. Coppola has the advantage at the start-finish line, and now Trevor Absher is starting to reel in the top 2 just a little bit and is looking to the inside, hoping that Coppola can get the advantage. Whoa! Sideways into the wall, beating and banging off of each other, and they save it. How about that? The top 2 nearly wreck it. They keep it pointed in the right direction, and Trevor Absher now battles Ed Boyles Jr. for second.
You know, I have to laugh, Kyle, because Ed Boyles just got called out by Wade Palmer IV in the Facebook chat. Stop chatting in the chat and race your race. And, well, might have been a little texting and driving at that point, and that's going to have to concentrate on the race there, Ed. But, Ed, great save there, monstrous save, and no pun intended. Well, all the puns intended. We're at the Monster Mile here at Dover. Ed drops back to the 3rd place position. He's under attack from Purier there in the 13 Geico machine. The lead still held by the number 3 of Kenny Coppola.
A very marginal lead over Trevor Absher, who is now looking to the inside, going into turn number 3. Coppola slams the door on Absher's fingers. He will have to retreat and plan another move for the race lead. Lap number 67 clicks off. Still single file throughout the top 5, but they are tightly packed up. Really starting to pack up behind Ed Boyles Jr. in that 88 machine. Now Purrier looking to the inside. Not enough momentum. He'll fall back in line and stay behind the 88 going into turn number 3. Levener is right behind in the 13. And then you have Chris Spear and Tim Wortman Jr. Patrick McLendon right behind him. He's trying to make something happen here tonight. Haven't mentioned too much about him and that money line number 2 Ford Mustang, but he is trying to work his way through the field and be a factor in this race, but he's trying to hold off that 24 car of Wade Palmer V at the same time.
Palmer V battling some handling issues earlier on, but seems to have collected, gotten himself into the top 10, running in that 9th position. And speaking of handling issues, Sean Stamper and the 21 had to chase that race car all the way up the racetrack. I don't believe he hit the wall, but definitely lost a lot of momentum, as you can see. John Tuddy and Ken Eller, the 41 and the 95, closing in on him in a hurry. And it looks like there's a little bit of a handling issue on the 21. You can see he can't quite get that car down in the bottom. Looks like he's battling a loose condition. But it looks like the 88 is dropping back here as well. 88s of Ed Boyles Jr. all the way back down to 11th position. So the damage on the outside of that race car might be a little bit worse than we thought, Kyle.
Yeah, I think he got up and slapped the wall once again here about a lap or 2 ago, and that's what's really cost him all of these positions. He's found a home behind his teammate Matt Mackin in the 9 machine, like you said, in position number 11, but things going the wrong way at the wrong time for Ed Boyles Jr. Seems to be the story for these Hendrick Motorsports guys, unfortunately. Strong in the beginning portions of the race, and then they find troubles at the later portions, and we're starting to see that once again with the 88 car. He's going to have a lot of work to do here with about 53 laps to go this time by. He wants to get himself back up towards the front of the field as one of his fellow Chevy compadres leads this race in Kenny Coppola.
And there you can see the lead right now, 7.5 tenths of a second over the number 19 of Trevor Absher. Absher been in the top 3 most of the evening. New 3rd place car is going to be that Preston Purier, as he's getting attacked now by Caleb Levener. Levener wants to get up here. He wants to try and get 3 in a row, and I don't think, with all the leagues we've worked with over the past 12 months here, Kyle, I don't think we've ever seen anybody win 3 league races in a row.
Yeah, he's been very quiet in this race thus far, but he's been inside the top 5 just about the entire way. Whoa, gets into the outside wall there. That's going to cost him some momentum. 3 wide. Oh, my. Chris Spear, what a move down on the bottom. He sent it. He's up into the outside wall. He's sideways and gets hit by the 13 of Preston Purrier. Everybody somehow is able to keep it straight after that. Beating, banging contact, sliding into the wall, keeping it going. My, oh, my. These guys are absolutely going for it, Paul. There's still 50 to go.
Hiya, Zeus Marimba, that 7 car. I've done moves like that before. You make it stick, you make it work, and you'll almost look in the rearview mirror like, holy crap, that worked. Oh crap, the wall. Which seems to be the reaction there for Chris Spear. Drops back to the 8th position. A little bit of damage on the right side of that car. Looks like there's a little bit of nose damage on that car as well, but still up to speed, still up to par. You can see he's holding off the number 2 of Patrick McLendon and a pack of cars behind him, almost a bunch of killer bees behind him, a little bit of side-by-side action a few spots ahead. There you can see Levener out on the outside of that 00 machine, the double aught of Tim Wortman Jr. The 11 car joining the party. Wade Bowen, after having some earlier mishaps, he's going to try and race his way into the top 5, and we got some smoke in the track, but I think that might just be a connection issue, Kyle.
Levener going to sacrifice these 3 positions. He's going to drop back to position in number 7. Finally able to get down to the inside, and you can see some of the damage on the left front corner panel of that number 12 machine. Nearly gets into the wall there off of turn number 4. Matt Mackin in the 9, trying to carry the Hendrick Motorsports banner up in 6th. Looking good so far here tonight. He is battling with Wayne Bowen. Bowen, like you mentioned, he was involved in, I think, our first caution flag here tonight. He has recovered very nicely, has put himself inside the top 5 for the first time tonight, and is trying to pressure the 00 of Tim Wortman Jr. for position number 4. And all this is happening just about a second behind third place Trevor Apsher. And now, how about, wow, I didn't even see that. Wade Palmer, the 5th, the 24 car, he's up in position number 2 right now.
Yeah, I caught that myself. He was running towards the back of the top 10 a little bit earlier, and here he is in the 2nd position. Doesn't seem like he's gaining a little bit of time here, gaining on the number 3 car. But how cool is that? Dover International Speedway. We're watching the 3 and the 24 battle for the lead.
Well, don't forget, Paul, Wade Palmer, the 5th, is one of those cars that came down to pit road under this most recent caution, so he is on fresher rubber than what Kenny Capola has underneath of his number 3 machine. So we're seeing the benefit of these fresh tires now. What can Wade do with it? He's closed the gap to just a few tenths of a second, still trying to work on getting to that back bumper of the number 3 machine. But he definitely has a car that can contend at the moment. Coming into this race, Wade Palmer, the 5th, 10th place in the points, sitting pretty comfortable for the playoff picture, but he does not have a victory. 5 playoff points. If you can go to victory lane, and we all know how crucial those are going to be, so he would like to get a victory, set himself up a little bit better for the playoffs, and he is not backing off. He is still closing the gap on Kenny Capola.
Bit by bit, piece by piece, closes in a big way there. A little bit of assistance from the number 20 going a lap down, or an additional lap down. He's 18 laps down there, the Charles Stephen machine, but it looks like the 3 of Kenny Capola was able to stretch that lead back out to 2 or 3 tenths of a second. And you can see the 24. It looks like the tires have kind of evened out after about 20, 22 laps or so. But that's definitely something I think these drivers are going to be paying attention to. And we may very well get a little bit of a mixed bag again. We can see the next driver that came down that last caution 22 laps ago was the number 11 of Wade Bowen. And that explains why he's running a little bit faster. You can see still a little bit of a crinkled up fender there on the right rear of that car. And you can see just kind of loose coming out of turn number 4 there. The 9's going to get on by on the outside. Matt Mackin moving himself into that top 5, but the 11 car still holding on strong, and the 9 also came down on that same tire strategy as well. So a couple of drivers, 3 drivers or so, making those tires work for them. Everybody else still kind of mired back in mid-pack or so.
I got to be honest, Paul, I really didn't expect to see the tire advantage come in this soon on this green flag run. I kind of figured we had to wait until some of the later portions of this race to really see it take into effect, but we are seeing it come alive and well here at the moment. Tim Wortman Jr., Matt Mackin, Wade Palmer the 5th, these are all guys inside the top 5 that made a pit stop on the previous caution flag, so the tires are definitely working for them. Wortman Jr. and Mackin are hounding the 19 of Trevor Absher. Absher doesn't want to give him the room on the bottom, but he absolutely has to. Slides way up the track, and it's going to be a 2-for-1 special. Mackin and Wortman Jr. will both get by the 19 and send him back to P5.
Wortman on older tires and Mackin on the newer tires, and there it shows. You can see Mackin making the inside line work like it's nobody's business. Get a little bit of a slide job action. He moves himself comfortably into that 3rd position. You can see he starts to pull away. He's going to try and close that almost 2.5 seconds up to his teammate, Wade Palmer the 5th, in 2nd position, and Kenny Capola about a second in front of him, starting to work on some lap traffic.
Caution flag will fly here with 38 laps to go. We have trouble. Looks like with the 21 machine, potentially, of Sean Stamper over there in turn number 3. And indeed it is Sean Stamper and the 2 car of Patrick McLendon getting together off of turn number 2, making some contact and finding trouble in turn 3, Paul.
Yeah, the Stamper camp not going to be happy about this one. A lot of fans over in the Facebook chat, and there you can see comes out of turn number 2, and not entirely sure what happened there. That's kind of a rough thing to call. You can see he comes out, the 2 was a little bit wobbly down on the bottom, and that car just hooked left on the straightaway. Not entirely sure what happened to the 21 car there.
I think he got a piece of that outside wall there, Paul. I think he touches, oh yeah, gets the outside safer barrier, tries to get it off of the safer barrier, and just yanks it too hard to the left. It comes off and makes contact with Patrick McClendon. You can see he wiggles, just kisses it, and comes off too hard, gets into the two machine, and spins himself around up into the turn 3 wall. And then Patrick McClendon has to grab a big old handful of steering wheel. He makes contact with the outside wall there in turn number 3, so that money line Ford Mustang gets a little more beat up, and he will find some more struggles with this race. Down on pit road, though, we have some more tire strategies going on. Cars are down there. You can see the 3 machine, Kenny Capola, he came off first. Wade Palmer, the 5th. Then you had Matt Mackin in the 9 machine. I don't believe anybody stayed on the racetrack amongst the front runners on this field. So now this is going to wipe the slate completely clean. The advantage that those guys had on those fresh tires, it did work for them. They are now up at the front of the field, but now so are the rest of your competitors. It's really going to come down to a driver's race at this point.
Absolutely. We can see Stamper stayed out, let himself lap to get some bonus points, and he's going to come down and get some service on a little bit less jam-packed pit road. Spent a little bit of time working on some of the damage on that number 21 Richmond Water Heaters Menards machine. But Kenny Capola still out front at number 3 Realtree machine. And as he's been for most of the race here so far this evening, Wade Palmer the 5th, he is going to come home in, come out of the pits here in at 2nd. Teammate Matt Mackin in the 9, right behind him. Tim Wortman in the 00 is in 4th. Wayne Bowen, the 11, great pit stop there. He's going to come out 5th. Trevor Absher, Chris Spear, John Tuddy, Ed Boyles Jr., and David Douthwaite rounding out the top 10 after pit stops.
So nice little shake up there in the field coming off of pit road. This will set us up for a very competitive, very entertaining run to the finish. Now, we talked a lot about playoffs and where everybody sits. The one guy we haven't mentioned yet as to where he sits in the playoffs, Paul, is our race leader right now, Kenny Capola. Kenny Capola is way down there in the points. He is 26th place in the point standings right now. He's missed 4 races so far. He's only run 8 of the previous 12. And he doesn't really have much of an opportunity to make it in on points. He's got, let's see here. I think he's got about 50 or 60 points back to where the cutoff line is. So this race could be the detrimental part of his regular season. If he's able to win, he gets into the playoffs. He jumps right through everybody, and he is going to be locked in. If he doesn't, well, he's just simply not going to be in. So this is very important for him to hold off these guys behind him and get into victory lane here tonight. He's probably had the best car that we've seen out of anybody, so he definitely has the best shot. But can he do so, and can he close off this great run?
He's really just going to have to focus in on the race and keeping that car up front. He definitely has the fastest car of the night. We threw all the strategy out the window. Everybody's got 4 fresh tires with 35 laps to go. Probably going to restart with about 33 to go once we get all crossed up. But I do again want to give a shout out to everybody over in the Facebook chat, the YouTube chat. We do that pretty much every race here on Verdane TV. But Kyle, I honestly think this is the first group where we've got multiple race drivers talking in the chat under caution. So how cool is that? If you're a fan of these guys in the Fatheads Cup Series or just tuning in on Verdane TV and you want to kind of talk to some of these drivers, shoot on over to the Facebook chat over on Verdane TV. Drop a line in there, say hi to the drivers, say hi to us. We like to be as interactive as we can. Let us know who you're rooting for, where you're watching from, and just make sure when the green flag comes out, we put those phones down, drivers.
Yeah, I know there's no texting and driving laws out on most public roads. Not so sure about a racetrack, but I guess we'll see what happens if they decide to do that. Green flag is back out. Capola, monstrous restart once again. He will pull out to the race lead. Wade Palmer, the 5th, right behind. He's making up some great time through the center of 1 and 2. Closes up the gap immediately right on the back bumper. Looking to the inside for his first lead, but doesn't have the space. He'll back off and let the 3-car fall in line right in front of him. Tim Wortman Jr., he's 3rd place right now. Best that that car has raced thus far, trying to play a spoiler in this one coming up through.
Taking a quick peek at the some of the stats here on the racetrack weather. Did it just get a little bit more cloudy? Do we have some clouds moving across the track here, Kyle?
Oh, we sure do, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I was making sure the LASIK surgery worked. That's definitely going to affect the handling of the race cars here, and it might very well be playing into the hands of the number 24 because that car is gripped up, hooked up, ready to rock, and you can see he gets by the 3 car like he's standing still, and it looks like Tim Wortman's going to try and join him. Thinks better of it. He's going to tuck back into the tire tracks on number 3, but new leader, give it to the number 24, Wade Palmer the 5th. He already has about 8-9 car lengths over that number 3 car as clouds come over the track, changing up the racing surface just a little bit, cooling it off a little bit, and making these cars handle completely differently than they have over the past 95 laps.
He has taken the lead, and he is rocketing away. He already has half a second on the 3 machine of Kenny Capola, who is trying to keep the 0-0 of Tim Wortman Jr. at bay. Right behind him, Trevor Absher. He's trying to get his way back into the mix here and contend for these positions. Lots of things changing here as we start to get towards the end of this thing. 30 laps left to go in the Monster Mile 125. It's very important for Kenny Capola to get into victory lane here. Just mentioned that points deficit may be too much for him to overcome to get into the playoffs on points. He doesn't have to worry about points if he gets to victory lane, but he's going to have a very strong contender in that 24 car to deal with. He is looking very good at the front of the field right now. And here comes Trevor Absher, closing in on Tim Wortman Jr., making it a 3-car battle for second.
A little bit of damage on the right side of that car. There you can see the nose kind of crinkled up just a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be slowing the number 19 of Absher down whatsoever. Caution flag comes out on the racetrack. That's going to slow him down. Looks like the 14 car, the Barstool Sports Machine, is pointed in the wrong direction. So one spin, everybody knows the rules, and we'll take a look and see what happened to the 14 car of Derek Cook.
Pretty big impact down there in turn number 3. It happened going down the back straightaway. He was trying to make a pass on the 95 machine of Ken Ellert. And you can see here they come off the turn. Ellert gets into the outside wall on the back straightaway. That causes Derek Cook to take evasive maneuver. Ellert gets the wall again, comes down and just gets the right rear. Hang on, into the wall. Ellert gets a piece of him. That car gets elevated off the ground, does a few spins, and comes to rest at the bottom of turn number 3. So a pretty big impact there for the 14 machine of Derek Cook. You're going to take another look at it right on the visor cam of Derek Cook's ride. So coming off of turn number 2 here, watch the 95 machine. He's going to get up into that outside wall, and that causes Derek Cook to take action to get away from him. Ellert then sees the closeness between him and the 14. He comes back up to try to give space, gets the wall again, comes back down, and head on goes Derek Cook, gets that car off the ground, does about a 1080 or so, and comes to rest at the bottom of turn number 3. So that is why we go under caution once again. Trouble for the 14 of Derek Cook, and that will end this battle going on up front. And I think it was a good time for that, Paul, because Wade Palmer the 5th, he got a piece of the wall coming off of turn number 4 there. And well, no, he didn't get a piece of the wall. He got very, very sideways off of turn 4 and almost gave himself away.
And it gives these drivers an opportunity to really think about their game plan for the final 25 laps here at Dover for the Monster Mile 125. And again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in here to Verdane TV here on Wednesday night. If you like what you're seeing, check out our merchandise table, Verdane.shop. Punch it into your web browser there and get yourself a hat, a t-shirt, a hooded sweatshirt. We got the Angry Tree Guy merch, the Two Drunk Esports, Visual Pollution, and we actually just inked out a deal. We're going to have some Rent a Race Car shirts in there within the coming weeks, and doing a little bit of brainstorming with Hollywood Dylan Langile and Mike and the Rocks, Mike James on the Rocks. A couple of other t-shirt designs we're going to be adding in there over the next few weeks, so be sure to check that out. And let all your friends know you watch this thing called iRacing here on Verdane TV, and well, we like to entertain the masses, and it seems to be going pretty well here, coming up on our 1-year birthday, 1-year anniversary as it were, coming up at the end of March, and going to be doing something special. Not quite sure what we're doing just yet, but we're going to have a special event that we're going to be inviting all of the leagues that we worked with here over the past 12 months to, and it's going to be one heck of a party. Also want to give a shout out to the Kong Beer Bong signing on as an associate sponsor here for Verdane TV. Check them out, bottom right of your screen. There you can see the logo and the web address, kong.twodrunk.net. Little portable beer bong action. It's basically a hardened plastic koozie with a detachable funnel. You screw into the bottom, you dump your beer in, and you go to town. And we'll be demonstrating that over on Twitch Friday night. Going to do a little bit of iRacing myself here. We got nothing going on at Verdane TV, so going to pound a couple of Busch Lattes and do some iRacing, and we'll hope you join us and check them out and get yourself a Kong beer bong over at kong.2drunk.net. And also check out FATHEADZ, fatheads.com, FATHEADZ with a Z. Use that promo code SHOWTIME. Look real good at the racetrack with some of their FATHEADZ eyewear. They even carry the Tony Stewart Smoke brand for the prescription glasses. So check that out. SHOWTIME promo code gets you 40% off, and that is huge. That is a big deal. Be sure to check that out and join their street team too, because they pretty good little group of folks over there at FATHEADZ Eyewear. They support racing, and they support the ones that support them. So very cool to see kind of a real-life racing sponsor jumping in with these guys, sponsoring the Cup Series here. And what better way to do it than with a league that does real NASCAR teams and paint schemes and all that cool stuff. So always cool to be able to tie the knot between real racing and sim racing.
Restart upcoming here. It will come with 24 laps to go, and the 24 car is in control. Wade Palmer the fifth. In the lead, Kenny Capola. Second place on the outside, Tim Wortman Jr., Trevor Absher, and Matt Mackin. Your top five as we get ready for the restart. Nice and even pace off of turn 4. Huge restart for the 24. Kenny Capola struggles, does not fire very well, and it's already a half-second advantage for the 24 as they go into turn number 1 for the first time. The 3 of Capola clears Wortman Jr., but Wortman is right there on the back bumper looking, and behind them side by side for 4th. Oh, we got a spinner in the back. I think that may have been the 27 of Ian Yeager who was around. Indeed it is. He gets collected up with the 2 machine of Patrick McLendon, and we very quickly go under caution flag and eliminate an opportunity for a green flag run.
Yeah, the 7 of Chris Spear almost getting caught up in this as well, but focus in there on that number 2 car. He was involved with the wreck, and you can see the 27 doesn't look like there's contact there, but definitely contact there. Spotter doesn't clear him, it looks like, and the 2 car just kind of sends him on around, and they're off the racing groove down in the bottom of the racetrack, but still a good call to kind of bring the caution out and make sure that they don't affect the leaders or the outcome of the race anyway up front. But that's going to be another caution here. Lap 103, 125 is the distance. Still Wade Palmer the 5th out front. Kenny Capola still trying to get the restarts back down like he did before, but the 24 is doing a great job. He's mixing it up just a little bit, going early, going late, and not doing the same thing more than once. And that's kind of the strategy you have to have when you're restarting this late in the race up towards the front.
You know, I got to be honest, Paul, we've seen that 24 car with some connection issues throughout this entire race, and the last time it spiked out was just before he fired, so I think that connection issue may actually be playing into his advantage a little bit, being the control car on these restarts. Makes it a little more unpredictable for these guys to figure out what that car is going to do on the restarts, and gives him a better opportunity at schooling them and opening up a bigger gap. So we'll see if maybe Capola was able to learn off of that previous one, because it did not go very well for him at all, and lost half a second just going down the front straightaway. So Alonzo King's going to come around the field here. He is going to be the recipient of the free pass this time by. We can let any James Kerr fans know that he has retired from this event. He is not going to continue on, and it looks like he is going to suffer a 24th place finish here tonight. We have 18 cars now on the lead lap now that Alonzo King has gone around the field. The first car off the lead lap is Ken Ellert, who is 5 laps down. So everybody that's off the lead lap at the moment, Ken Ellert, Derek Cook, Joshua Battles, Colin Zeimer, those guys have had some type of issue or are out of this race. So those that have stayed clean and green still on the lead lap and still have an opportunity to contend for a decent finish here tonight.
So check it in on the social media. We always try and keep up with the Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitter, all that stuff throughout the races here on Verdane TV. And just checking Instagram. And, well, it's Wednesday night. AEW Dynamite's on. And Paul White just a big signing over for AEW, the new wrestling company put together by Cody Rhodes. And he's wearing a T-shirt that says "No More BS." And his previous name in WWE was Big Show. So if he's not using Big Show anymore, I think I'm going to switch my nickname over to the Big Show, Paul Strickland, because I kind of like that.
Oh, my goodness.
We're going to have to get hooked up with Brett Suggs and have to have him change out some stickers over the windshield of the gorgeous paint schemes that he's put together for me. But, yeah, I think we're going to go with the Big Show, Paul Strickland Jr.
I'm not even too sure how to respond to that, if you want my honest opinion.
It's all about the fun here of AIM-TV, trying to entertain the masses, and we do it every which way that we can. A lot of racing fans, sim racing fans, like to dabble in the wrestling, and Kyle, you and I, big wrestling fans as well. So we notice there's a few wrestling fans here in the Fatheads Cup Series as well. So pretty cool to kind of be able to make those connections. And this most previous race here in the Tim's Corner Weekly Racing Series, won by Richard Drake, led almost all the laps from the pole, and got the nickname Mr. Perfect, and Dylan Langell was so disappointed when, Richard Drake wasn't a wrestling fan, had no idea who he was. So appreciated the nickname, but wasn't able to make the connection.
Well, isn't that a big disappointment? Green flag going to come out the next time by here. Lights are off from the pace car. It's going to be an 18-lap run to the finish. It's still Wade Palmer the fifth out in front. Kenny Capola is second. Tim Wortman Jr. now third. Trevor Absher is fourth. Ed Boyles Jr. completes your top five with Preston Purrier in sixth. Matt Mack in seventh. Wayne Bowen in eighth. John Tuddy in ninth. And David Douthwaite is inside the top 10 for the first time tonight in the DoorDash number 23 Toyota Camry. So 18 to go here, and we've got so many different stories up at the front of this field. Wade Palmer the fifth, winless on the season. He's 10th in points, looking for his first win. Kenny Capola, he needs to win if he wants to be in the playoffs this season. Tim Wortman Jr., he's already in. He's got victories. He's just looking to add on to it. Trevor Absher, very good in the points, but he doesn't have a win yet this season either. And Ed Boyles Jr., one win on the season. It came almost 3 months ago, so he's looking to end that drought and set himself up for a better playoff run. Pace car is down onto pit road. Let's see what happens here on this restart. Does Capola sleep like he did prior? Sure looks like it. Tim Wortman Jr. gets a much better start behind the pole sitter, and he is going to take advantage of that and roll into position number 2. Ed Boyles Jr. is right on the back bumper trying to take advantage, and he does so. So the inside line just eats the outside one for lunch. Capola back to fourth, Wortman Jr. second, and Ed Boyles Jr. third, following Wade Palmer the fifth in the lead.
Everybody up front pretty much single file in the top 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, it looks like. There you can see Trevor Absher working the back bumper of the number 3 car. Didn't quite get the restart that he was getting earlier on in the race for the number 3, but still holding on to that 4th position. Preston Purrier there in the 13 Geico machine moves himself up into 6th, and there you can see on that wide angle shot, pretty much single file all the way throughout the field here, Kyle. So it's probably going to click off a couple of laps, and then business is really going to start to pick up. And we can see Ed Boyles Jr. in the third place, but second place, Tim Wortman Jr., he wants a piece of that lead. You can see he dipped down low there going in to turn number 1. Caution flag comes out once again on the speedway.
Big trouble over in turn number 1 there for the 47 of Alonzo King, who just put himself back on the lead lap, and now he is in deep, deep trouble. Happened off of turn number 4. He made some contact with the 15 of Ryan Kling. Kling got out of shape, gets into the 47, and the 47, a vicious impact down to the inside wall. You can see it here. Kling sideways, gets the right rear, puts the 47 into the outside wall, and a huge hit down to that inside wall, and just mangles the front end of that 47 machine all to pieces, smoke billowing out of it. A very, very unfortunate ending for this race for Alonzo King. Alonzo is another one of those drivers that's just on the playoff cusp. He's on the inside, 14th place in the point standings, but he only has a few points ahead of the guys behind him now. Fortunately, those guys had issues before he did, so he may be able to get out of jail free with this one. But obviously not at all what you want to do, an opportunity for him to extend that gap on those guys behind him and relieve some of that pressure going into these final races in the regular season. Doesn't look like that's going to happen here today.
So 14 laps to go. We're going to have probably 2 more laps under caution, restart with 12 to go. Wade Palmer the fifth, leading out front, has been on point with the restarts the past couple of starts here, the past couple of cautions. Tim Wortman Jr. in the 00 car, he's going to be restarting in second. Ed Boyles Jr., he's worked his way back up to the top 3. He's running in third. Kenny Capola led a lot of this race earlier on, had some great restarts from the inside, but not able to make it happen on the outside. He's running in the 4th position. There you see the 19 right behind him, Trevor Absher, holding on to the 5th position. Preston Purrier kind of been in the top 10 all night long. That number 13 Geico machine, the number 9 Matt Mackin in 7th. John Tuddy, he's worked his way up to 8th. Haven't talked about him too much tonight in the 41 ride. Wayne Bowen in the 11 Early Troubles, he's up in the 9th spot. And the DoorDash number 23, David Douthwaite, he is in 10th. Caleb Levener, reigning and defending 2-race streak winner. Right now, he's running at 11, so he's got some work to do if he's going to make it a trifecta, but definitely not out of the question. As we can see, that 12 car's been very strong pretty much everywhere we've gone, everywhere we've seen his Fatheads Cup Series. Jimmy Absher, the 18 machine, Interstate Batteries ride, he's running in the 12th position. Chris Spear kind of ping-ponging all throughout the field, been up front, been towards the back in the 7. He's currently in the 13th spot. There you see Patrick McLennan in behind him in the 14th position. Sean Stamper, the Stamper fans out there in Facebook world, there he is in 15th. Kind of a cool looking paint scheme there. The 33 is a couple of laps down. Well, he's a few more than a couple, 63 laps down for the number 33. But there you can see the 27 on pit road in the 16th position. He's going to come down and grab himself 4 tires. And last car on the lead lap is going to be that 15 of Ryan Kling. Saw him a couple of times. Haven't talked about him too much. Quiet night so far this evening. Looks like he just got some repairs done to that car. A little bit of an extended pit stop, but he's back out on track and still on the lead lap.
So it's got to be going through your head right now. If you're Tim Wortman Jr., Ed Boyles Jr., what do you have to do to get around this 24 car? He's been a master on these restarts ever since he took over the top position and has not allowed anybody to really challenge thus far. Although I will say, I think the pressure is starting to get to him just a little bit. He started making a few mistakes. Tim Wortman Jr. was right on that back bumper when the caution flag came out. So he's got to limit that. We're starting to run out of laps, which is good for him, but these opportunities are starting to dwindle away, and that's only going to make the drivers behind him a little bit more anxious. They're going to put even more pressure on that 24 car and try their best to take this win away from him. He's come on strong very late in this race. He's looking very good. Now he's got a teammate lined up right behind him too, so it makes you wonder if there's going to be any type of teamwork between these two on this restart to allow them to jump the 00 of Tim Wortman Jr. and shuffle him back to third.
Similar to real life, where a driver may have somebody that he works with, whether it's a teammate or a friend behind him, he may throw his hand up and kind of give him the thumbs up or the go ahead and push me here on the restart. These drivers, both on Hendrick Motorsports, looks like they are in the Hendrick Motorsports voice channels, so you got to wonder if Palmer's going to let Boyles know when he's going to get a restart. You'll be able to really tell as soon as that green flag drops. 24 has been a master of the restarts here in the second half of this race, and hasn't really been able to have Kenny Coppola keep up with him, but we've got Tim Wortman Jr. on the outside now. Wayne Palmer, the 5th, going to restart on the bottom, and there you can see the 88 lagging back just a little bit, closes the gap, and we wait, and there you can see good restart for the 24. The 88 not quite right with him, but definitely a little bit better than some of the drivers behind him. But it's going to be the 24's race to lose as they're side-by-side for second.
No advantage to either car just yet as they battle for second. Oh, nearly contact with the wall as your leader. I think Wortman Jr. got it a little bit. Here comes Ed Boyles Jr. back to the bottom. He takes over position number 2, looking for the race lead. He'll go to the outside now, and lap 114 clicks off. 11 laps to go here in the Monster Mile 125. Hendrick Motorsports teammates up at the front of the field. The 24 does not have a win yet this season. The 88 does. Does Ed Boyles Jr. maybe let off a little bit here and try to keep that 24 up in front?
One thing I'm noticing, the 24 is running about a lane and a half higher than the 88 is. I don't know if it's because the 24 is a little bit looser than the 88, but you can see he's backing up just a little bit. Not quite able to close the gap. The 24 is starting to check out with that clean air. Tim Wortman Jr. peeking on the inside, down into turn number 3. Thinks better of it, falls right back into the tire tracks. Here comes Coppola in the number 3. He wants to join the party. He wants to try and get up into the top 3, into the top 2, and up around the 24 car with less than 10 laps to go. Give it 8 laps to go at the line.
Wade Palmer V, just shy of a half a second lead over his teammate Ed Boyles Jr. in position number 2. Boyles Jr. making that car as wide as he possibly can, trying to keep Tim Wortman Jr. behind him and try to save the Hendrick Motorsports 1-2 finish. Kenny Capola right there in position number 4, trying to get back and see if he still has a late race charge for this victory. And the caution flag is out again with 8 laps to go. Caution flag ending this green flag run. Turn 1 has seemed to be the hottest spot on the track tonight, Paul, and it has claimed somebody else, John Tutty in the 41 machine. He is in trouble, got the outside wall in turn number 4, slid down, hit the inside wall in the front stretch, and piled that car up in turn 1.
Yeah, big hard hit for the number 41. There you can see he just gets up in that wall glue and right across the nose of the number 7 car, and you can see big-time contact with the inside of the pit wall here. I do want to back this up real quick once again because I want to take a look at the onboard just to show you how close it was for the number 7. Don't even see the 41 wrecking at this point. Whew. Oh, he's going to have to change the driver's suit after that one. That was close. We'll back it up one more time because you can't even see with the cars in front of him. You don't see the 41 hit the wall from the inside of the number 7. You can see he's up there battling just a little bit with the 18 car, and as they come out of the turn, I believe they hit the straightaway before the 41 hits the wall. So at this point, he's still in it. Chris Spears still holding a pretty wheel, and there you can see the contact with the wall. It looks like he's going to try and stay up there, but at the very last second, just it's close, but no cigar. Chris Spear, definitely a close call there with the 41 coming across the front of the nose.
Great avoidance there for Chris Spear. Fantastic piece of driving there to keep that number 7 machine clean and green. At least on the front end. Looks like the rear end of the machine has a few crinkles and dents in it, but for the most part, that car looking fairly clean, and he's got a few more chances here, a few more laps, hopefully under green, to try to sneak back inside the top 10. He's had a pretty good day today, just starting to struggle a little late and has fallen outside of that top 10. So now a different element to this restart here, Paul. You got the 2 Hendrick Motorsports cars. They're going to be starting side by side with each other. They're not going to line up bumper to bumper like they did on that previous restart. Didn't really look like there was too much of an advantage for both of those cars. Tim Wortman Jr. was able to hang pretty well on that outside lane. Ultimately, Ed Boyles Jr. did take that position over. But how is this going to work on this restart, having the 2 teammates line up right next to each other instead of in line like they were on the previous one?
And who's going to end up working with who? We got a couple of non-Hendrick cars. The next Hendrick car is Matt Mack in the 9 car back in 7th position, so no help from there. And this is going to be a very interesting restart because the 24, the 88, Palmer and Boyles, they're teammates. They know each other very well. They practice together. They work on setups together, so they know pretty much what each other is going to do on the restarts. They know what the setup's going to do. So the Ed Boyles machine, the 88, may very well have the biggest advantage that we've seen to try and get around number 24 here on the restart. If it doesn't happen on the restart, though, Kyle, I don't think anybody's going to be able to get around the 24 of Wade Palmer V. Doing a great job in the second half of this race, holding on to that lead, and you can look at the car, pretty much pristine. There's a lot of rubber buildup from the tire wear off on the racetrack, kind of flying up and sticking to that Exalta paint there, but as far as the sheet metal goes, looks like it's relatively straight.
Taking a look at the playoff points for these drivers in this series, as we've made it very well known, the playoffs are looming in, and at the moment, Ed Boyles Jr., he has 10 playoff points coming into this race. He did lead laps tonight, so that would put him at 11. Wade Palmer V has 7. Leading laps tonight would have 8. Depending on how many laps he leads here tonight, could potentially lead the most. I think he may be short on that one. But it's 5 playoff points to win the race. So if either one of these 2 drivers is able to win this race, Paul, they are going to have the most playoff points amongst the series. And that is huge because once they restart this playoff and reset the point standings, they go based off of playoff points. So this win could potentially be for the number 1 seed in the playoffs when things start up. Now, of course, we still have 3 more races to go. But hey, it's good to know that you're going to be the number 1 seed coming into it a few weeks early. Kind of gets your spirits up and continues the confidence to run better before things really wrap up.
Absolutely, and it's a big confidence booster when you get into the playoffs, having those extra bonus points moving you up towards the front, even that little bit further. You still want to race hard, you still want to win races, but knowing you've got that little bit of cushion to kind of start off really works out in your favor. But it's just like getting into the playoffs, a lot easier to just go out there and win races. For some of these drivers, anyway, it's easier said than done for a lot of drivers. A lot of handful of really quick guys always up towards the front. We're seeing a couple of them now. Wade Palmer the fifth. Down low, up top, going to be Ed Boyles Jr. Restart for the Centuries. Give it to the number 24. Fantastic start. He's going to put some distance on the 00 and the 88. And it's going to be side by side for P2.
Trying to drive off into the sunset, but here comes Tim Mortman Jr. He takes second. He's looking to the outside for the race lead. Palmer's giving him the lane. He wants the bottom. They are side by side coming to the popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go. Will Tim Mortman Jr. rip the heart out of the chest of Wade Palmer the fifth? He hangs on for now. 2 to go as they cross the stripe.
Trying every which way, every which high side, low side, trying to get around him there. You can see the 88 getting right to the back bumper of Wortman Jr. Backs up just a little bit, thinks better of it. He's going to try and attack him here in turn number 3 on the bottom side. No, he's going to check back just a little bit. Doesn't quite have enough to get there, but the 00 doesn't seem to have enough to get to the back of the bumper. There you can see the 88, Ed Boyles Jr. up into the wall. He's losing a lot of time. It's a 2-car race up front. Wade Palmer the fifth on the last lap. White flag, white rag as they come out of turn number 2. All he's got to do is nail 3 and 4, and this race is all Palmer's. You can see the 00 trying to run that high side, get a little bit more grip. Doesn't quite have enough. He's going to try and shoot on the outside. Big wall contact, and he wrecks the race car into the FOT 3 of Coppola. Mackin gets a piece of him. No matter, it's after the start-finish line. It's a good thing that's a simulation because that is a big, bad, scary hit for the 00 Warman, who comes home 5th. But the story of the night, Wade Palmer the 5th, comes home with the victory, comes home with the checkered flag, and comes home knowing that he is locked in to the playoffs for the championship here later on in the season, as you made mention, Kyle, coming up in about a month's time.
The misery for the Hendrick Motorsports team is finally over, and what a way for them to do it. We've seen over the last few weeks, Talladega, Darlington, how strong that this team has been, but they couldn't finish it off. Tonight, not only do they finish it off, they put a new driver in victory lane, and they get a 1-2 finish. Now, they had a little fortune with that. Tim Wortman Jr. left it all on the racetrack. Again, he has won a race. He could afford to lose a few positions there. He was either wreckers or checkers for him, and he chose wreckers. Doesn't finish in second. He'll spin and crash and flip across the line in position number 5, but what a race. What an exciting turn of events that this one played. Saw some dominance from some different drivers early on, and the guys that were able to put it together in the middle portions of this race really finished it off well, and it is a 1-2 finish for the Hendrick Motorsports duo of Wade Palmer V and Ed Boyles Jr.
And there you can see Preston Courier takes that 13 home in the 3rd position. Kenny Coppola rounds out, winds up in the 4th position. Tim Mortman Jr. comes home in 5th after that scary wreck after the checkered flag. Trevor Absher takes home the 6th spot. Matt Mackin 7th. Jimmy Absher, Dave Douthwaite, and Patrick McClendon rounding out the top 10. And a cool thing to take a peek here on the screen here, Kyle, with the top 10 results. Just look at the locations of these drivers. New Jersey, New York, Texas, Michigan, Illinois, Carolina, Ohio, Carolina, Great Plains, Texas.
Whoa. Did you just say Illinois? Did you actually pronounce the S at the end of Illinois?
Yeah, that's how it's said, isn't it?
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh, Paul.
Well,
are we going to have to put you back in a high school in English class?
No.
Or would that be social studies, geography?
No, I was never really good at math. But one state I do know how to say is New Jersey. New Jersey's own Wade Palmer V coming home in victory, doing a little double donut action or double burnout action with his teammate Ed Boyles Jr. Wade, great run at the end, second half of that race, absolutely domination. Man, talk to us about your race. Talk to us about your victory.
It was great. Had a great setup. We worked on it all week long. And then when we pitted about halfway through, me and Matt knew that was the make it or break it point. So I ended up driving through the field and staying up there.
And you made it look easy. And one thing we noticed here in the booth, pretty much had those restarts figured out. Did you kind of change up the strategy at all? Go at different points, or were you pretty much on the same page throughout the race?
I was trying to switch it up a little bit just to keep the guys on their toes.
Definitely seemed to work out. A couple of different, probably 6 or 7, well, maybe 4 or 5 different drivers battling on those restarts, and really weren't able to hold a candle to that 24 machine. Lots and lots of power onto that car, and man, great run, great domination here, great victory. You're in the playoffs too, so that's cool. We got 4 more races, 3 more races to the playoffs. Does this mean you're gonna kind of test some stuff out, or are you gonna try and get yourself another wins before we start talking about that championship run?
We're just gonna finish out the rest of the regular season, see what we can do with it.
I dig it, and we got Exalta all over the car on the 24. Just want to give you the opportunity to thank any friends, family, sponsors you may have. The microphone is all yours.
Just want to thank you to all my teammates. We spent all week working on that setup, tweaking it, and got it right. Thank all the sponsors. We have Butt Kicker, we have FATHEADZ and Budget Sim Boxes, Harpoon Designs, and thank you guys for putting on a great podcast every week.
Absolutely love to hear it, and congratulations on winning the race here at Dover, and congratulations on locking your spot into the playoffs.
Thanks, guys.
Kai, you're down. Well, you're still in victory lane. His teammates down here as well. You've caught up with the 88 of Ed Boyles Jr.
Yeah, the two Hendrick Motorsports drivers sharing some high fives and hugs down here in Victory Lane, and we'll get a word with the runner-up Ed Boyles Jr. Ed, a very strong performance for you here tonight. Bit of a topsy-turvy night, though. It was strong in the beginning. Looked like you may have had some trouble and almost ruined your race towards the middle there, but came on strong, was able to finish second in the end. Walk us through it on your end.
Yeah, at the beginning of the race, I felt like I had a really strong car. Was able to get around Kenny there for a little bit, lead some laps. He, on the long run, man, he was just so fast. But when I was on the outside of him there, and I think it was Trevor behind me, and that was just a little wild. I couldn't believe all three of us saved it. After I got a little bit of damage there, and I had just burnt my tires up, and that sent me, I think, all the way back to 18th. I was real happy to be able to come and get some tires, and I drove it back up from the back to the front.
Ed, over the last few weeks, we've seen a lot of you guys in the Hendrick Motorsports stable be very strong, be very fast, but things just haven't been able to stay together towards the end of these races, and you haven't gotten the finishes that you may have necessarily deserved. Tonight, you not only end that drought, but you do it in a 1-2 finish. How important is that for not only just you and Wade, but for the entire five-car organization to finally put a race together where you can have success and be proud about?
Oh, it's awesome. It really is. Wade's been working really hard. He's had some pretty rough races there at the beginning of the season where it just didn't show how good of a driver he really is. I got to credit the 1-2 finish here, actually. Tim got a little loose there at the end of the race, and I would have settled for third and been happy with that at this point with troubles I had. But as far as for our team, we've been working really hard, at least 3-4 nights, just really trying to different setups, and we all each have a different driving style, so we all don't run the same setups. We tweak it to help each other, and it's just been working really well.
So now with 3 races left to go, you know for a fact that you have 2 of you guys locked in to the playoffs. Mike Miller looking good on points, and just kind of taking a quick look here. Looks like there's both Mike and Matt Mackin looking pretty good on the points here. So what is the strategy going forward here for these final 3 races? Do you try to get either the 48 or the 9 into victory lane? Do you just worry about points and try to gain as many as you can to set yourself up for the playoffs? And the fact that 2 of the last 3 races are road courses, something that we have not done yet in this season. What does this Hendrick Motorsports group look at that, and how do they attack it?
Really, we're just trying to get some good, consistent finishes. Hopefully, we can get Matt and Mike and even Wade the fourth there. Get him hopefully up a little further in the points. With Coda coming up is going to be the Circuit of the Americas. That's going to be the big one. I truthfully never run there. Got to do some practicing, and I'd like to get another win to match some of these other guys that have 2 wins so far as bonus points going into the chase. I felt like the last 2 weeks I should have had at least 1 more out of those 2 races, but just fell apart right at the end. They were all top 5s, but it's not good enough when you don't win, right?
Not at all. Fortunately for the team, though, they do win it tonight, and it's something for all of you guys to celebrate. Runner-up finish for you here tonight, Ed. Who would you like to thank for it?
Well, just like to thank my teammates for all the hard work they put in. Want to thank my wife for putting up with me, who's kind of giving me a look from the side and got her trying to share the broadcast and everything out there. I'd like to say thank you to SimNut Racing Sims, Butt Kicker, Budget Sim Boxes, Harpoon Design, and then a big shout out to my car sponsor here, FATHEADZ Eyewear. Again, we have the Showtime discount there for 40% off. Anyone wants to go visit their website. And also, big thank you to you guys at Verdane TV. It's just been phenomenal broadcast. Some of my family just say they really enjoy watching it. And last week, some of those overlays and stuff were just amazing with the paint schemes. That looked great.
So those are the words for second place finisher Ed Boyles Jr. here tonight, capping off the Hendrick Motorsports 1-2 finish here at the Dover International Speedway. Paul, back over to you. Going to get a word with Preston Purrier back on the podium here at Dover tonight.
Yeah, one of the fan favorites, it seems, the 13 Geico machine coming home in the third position. Preston, talk to us about your race.
It was just a bunch of crazy stuff. I started off, I qualified very poorly, but every time that yellow came out, I just was chomping at the bit for the restarts. I seemed to gain about 3 positions every restart, so I was hoping for a couple more at the end there. But got some damage later on when I was in the top 5. Me and my teammate kind of had a little run-in with the 12. No one's fault, really. But had to fix some damage, started way back again, and at the end, Tim just getting loose at the end, sealed my podium. I hate that for Tim. But Wade and Ed just drove a heck of a race tonight. They earned that one.
Yeah, it was a great racing up front, and just some incredible restarts there from the 24. If maybe you restarted kind of outside that front row, you think you might have had anything on the restarts for the 24 machine?
I think so. I mean, Ed being there really helped the 24, but I think the 24 probably still had that one. I didn't have too much for anyone on older tires, and we were really getting there. I've been struggling all week trying to save the right front, just practicing with my teammates constantly. But I don't know if I would have had anything. As I said, he earned that one.
For sure. And we can take a quick look at the point standings here on the screen. It looks like you're already locked in from a win earlier on in the season. We've got 3 races left, a couple of road courses in the mix. Have you got anything for the left and right-handing turns?
Well, I actually just ran the 12 Hours of Bathurst Saturday with a couple league mates, so hopefully that gives me some more experience with being able to handle that. I've been decent at road courses, but these cup cars are so hard to get around there, and I haven't turned any laps at Coda, but it is the one track on the schedule I've actually been to, so hopefully that helps me out a little bit.
Hey, count it, and it's going to be the first time we cover a Coda race here on Verdane TV, so we're really looking forward to that next week as well. And man, it's a great race. You came home third, and you got Geico on the hood. Who else makes it happen for the 13 machine? The floor's all yours.
Well, my teammates, I mean, we work so much on our setups trying to get it right. We took big swings up till the end. I want to thank my girlfriend. She puts up with me, putting in all those practice laps too. I've got a few friends out there watching. My mom watches every race. Her roommate Laura, my aunt Norma out there, and then I was trying to decide which scheme I was going to run. So I had my friends' kids. Their names are Daryl and Tara. Pick out which scheme I was running tonight, and they opted for the one I ran last week. So. Just everyone watching, I appreciate it. And then I want to thank all of our sponsors, SimNut Racing Sims, Butt Kicker, Budget Sim Boxes, Harpoon Designs, and definitely our title sponsor, FATHEADZ Eyewear. They've all been great to us.
Absolutely, and coming home with a solid third place run here at Dover. Didn't get, a little bit of damage on the 13, but it matters the most when you finish in the third spot. So congrats to be expected. You made mention right at the drop of the green flag, Miles was hungry, and he chewed up a couple of race cars here tonight, but all in all, not a bad show.
Yeah, Miles definitely got his fair share of race car munching, to say the least. But no, you were right. A very good race. We saw things change quite a bit throughout the progression of this race. We have a new winner on this season, which is great to see. The Hendrick Motorsports cars, as we've made mention, finally able to cap off a race that they were looking very strong in. And I know that is going to really boost the morale for all 5 of their cars and really put them in good spirits to finish out this regular season and to move into the playoffs, which the playoff battle, we talked about how tight it was already. It's just gotten even better. Props to the league officials for already having the points information out for us. Taking a look at it here from their website, the cut line is now down to 6 points. Charles Stevens, he has that last spot in by 6 points over David Douthwaite. You go 1 more point back, and that's where Tim Ingram is. And then 15 points out is where Ian Yeager is in position 19th in the point standing. So I think we're going to see some really amazing things here in the rest of this regular season. Very interested to see how these road courses are going to go. The only time that this series went road racing was at the very beginning of the season on November 4th for their Busch Clash. There has not been a points race on a road course yet. So anything and everything that we have learned about this series thus far, Paul, may not even be worth bringing to the broadcast next week because, number 1, road racing, haven't seen that at all yet for this series. And number 2, we haven't seen a Circuit of the Americas race on Verdane TV at all. So there are going to be a lot of question marks, a lot of unknowns going into that race. But I think those question marks and unknowns make for a very exciting race for the 2 of us and for all of our viewers watching on Verdane TV.
For sure, and I'm absolutely going to have to bring my notebook next Wednesday night and take some notes on the road course racing and the etiquette and all that good stuff because, well, you and I are going to be sharing the seat in a NEPS endurance race coming up here shortly at some point here in the month of March. I don't really know too many of the details because, I don't really do too much road racing, but I know Brett Suggs is painting us up a BMW, so I'm pretty excited about that and really looking forward to the NEPS Endurance Series. And we're going to see the NEPS guys tomorrow night, doubleheader action tomorrow night. We're going to have a 1 hour race at a 1 hour timed race for Tim's Corner Motorsports leading up to NEPS at Irwindale, and they have 2 races left in their championship to crown a champion in the Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. So really looking forward to that, and I want to thank all the sponsors here for the Fatheads Cup Series League: SimNut Sim Racing Sims, Butt Kicker, Budget Sim Boxes, Harpoon Designs, and Fatheads Eyewear. And there you can see on your screen the promo code SHOWTIME. Use that for 40% off at fatheads.com. And we also want to give a shout out to Kong Beer Bong for signing on here at Verdane TV. Check out that website, kong.twodrunk.net. They're a new kind of an associate sponsor here for Verdane TV, as well as Two Drunk Esports. That's myself, John Adams, Butterbean, and Richard Beasley that just signed on to the team. So lots of cool stuff happening and plenty of marketing opportunities, advertising opportunities as well here on Verdane TV, as well as with the Fatheads Cup Series. If you're interested in getting your brand out there, your logo, or your company advertised with us, definitely give us a shout over on the Facebook page, and we can point you in the right direction. Going to take a quick little peek at the upcoming events that we forgot to update the actual schedule, but there you can see tomorrow night, the NEPS Grand National Series Thursday night. Tim's Corner is going to be right before that. Friday and Saturday, we are off. Friday night, I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of streaming over on Twitch, twitch.tv/strictly94. I'm going to do some iRacing myself, I think. Maybe we'll get some BMW practice in, some of that road racing stuff that everybody's talking about. Sim Racing Unleashed comes back for Martinsville Sunday night at 9 o'clock. That's actually 8 o'clock Eastern. Looking forward to that race. Those guys have been putting on a pretty good show. And then Tim's Corner Live nailed some big-time guests for Monday night. That's a 7:30 show over on the Tim's Corner Motorsports Facebook page. If you haven't checked it out yet, definitely go over and give it a quick peek. Pretty cool to be able to kind of sit back and shoot the breeze with some of Maritime Canada's race car owners and drivers and track owners, and it's always good to watch Tim Terry interview because he is the best in the business. And then right after that, we've got the Sim 500 Trans-Service Cup Series at 9:15. So lots of action coming up here on Verdane TV. Verdane.net/events gets you the entire schedule of events, and we've got 3 or 4 shows pretty much weekly all the way up through the month of May, not counting the week of Easter. And it's going to be very, very exciting here. We've got a lot of good stuff coming on here on Verdane TV, and really looking forward to making this thing bigger and better. But I think that's going to wrap it up here for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on Facebook, on YouTube, shouting us out on Twitter and Twitch and all the social media outlets. And we will catch you guys on the flip side. When we do, we're going to be doing it live. Thanks so much for coming out. Have a great night.